Good morning. So I want to talk about staff expectations. Our number one expectation is a safe, welcoming, and collaborative culture. We want to make sure that our students feel like we care about them and that we're here for them. We want to make sure that we frame all of our decisions around the question, what is best for our students? That's an expectation of all staff. We want to make sure that you maintain a positive attitude at all times. As many of you know, so many of our students come from less than positive situations, and so for a lot of them, this is the most positive place that they're going to be all day. And so we want to make sure we maintain that. Now, most of the time that's easy. Most of you are very positive people and enjoy being around students. But on those days that maybe you're don't have all of your mojo, we're going to fake it till we make it. That's the key here. So kind of like the Walmart greeter, part of your job is to create a positive atmosphere. Most of the time that comes naturally. Sometimes we have to manufacture it. But I don't know about you, but sometimes when I pretend I'm having fun and enjoying myself, I end up doing it by accident. So maintaining that positive atmosphere for our students' sake, thinking about what's best for students all times is the number one expectation that we have here. The second one is almost as important, effective teaching in every classroom. And that means that these are things that we want to see every day. That starts with an extension of the first core principle, which is that we want to see teachers building relationships. We know from research that if students feel secure and they feel like they have a positive relationship with an adult, that they are going to be more receptive to what you're talking about, the things that you're doing, and that learning increases. So that should be your number one goal, is to build as many positive relationships with students and hopefully their parents and guardians as you possibly can. We want to make sure that you're clear about what your expectations are. And so do you have posted expectations for students, a learning goal with learning criteria? What does meeting that goal look like in concrete terms? What are the students expected to do? We want to give students specific daily feedback. That doesn't mean, great job, Johnny. That means, you know, Johnny, I really liked the way that you opened this paragraph with an exciting event. That really hooked me and made me want to read the rest of your story. Be specific with your daily feedback. Telling them they're doing a good job is great. Okay, well, it's good. But what's great is telling them something specific that they're doing that's good. We want to make sure students understand expectations, consequences, and procedures. So be very clear to students about how you expect them to do things. Walk them through what group work looks like. Practice what a lab looks like. These are things that, you know, if we've done this for many, many years, they come naturally to us, but we have to remember some of our kids don't know exactly how you want to do that. And showing them exactly what you need them to do for their own benefit is not only going to be beneficial for you, but it's also going to give them a better idea of what you want. It's going to make them feel more secure and less anxious. So making sure that you're letting them know clearly what you want from them in all situations is an expectation. We want to make sure that as much as possible, our activities are real world, they have relevance, and that the objectives are clear to the students. Don't be afraid to take a few minutes to explain, you know, why is this important? Why are we doing this? Why is this connected to our subject of science? What are the ramifications of this in social studies? So making sure that those connections are clear to the students, even spending a minute on that, can have a lot of positive effect on what students retain. And then focused attention strategies. We've been working on this for a number of years. Many of you are doing a great job with this. Please continue to do that. But just giving students breaks from activities. We've got a number of things that we do to help focus students' attention. Some of them seem silly, but they work. So keep doing that. We'll continue to practice that throughout the year as much as we are able. Some of our practices and procedures that we would normally say are effective teaching are a little bit in limbo this year because of the COVID-19 crisis. I'm so tired of talking about that. But Normally, we would want to talk about, are we using cooperative learning on a regular basis? Are we using small group instruction on a regular basis? Are we talking about vocabulary on a regular basis? Student-centered classroom discussion. Are we integrating technology in a way that's meaningful without making it the focus of what we're doing? And are we using motivation? Are we reminding students of why something's important, why it's important to them, or maybe using their relationship with you to make something important? Not all of those things obviously are going to be able to be done this year, at least not in the way that they were before. But I trust you guys to be creative and try to find ways to make this work this year. In a normal year, that's what we're trying to do. So if you can figure out ways to make those things happen while also socially distancing our students safely, more power to you. I'd like to hear about how you're doing that, because I think those are things that we're all going to be looking to do this year. And if we can work together on that, that would be fantastic. Some things that we don't ever want to see in a classroom. Number one is a power struggle. Even if you win in a power struggle, you've lost. We don't want to see busy work for the sake of doing something. We never want to see degrading or belittling students, name calling, or any type of arguing or yelling with students. You know, certainly we all have bad moments, but those are things that we should never really see in any classroom, regardless of what kind of a moment we're having. The third most important core principle or staff expectation is that your curriculum is guaranteed and viable. And what that means is that your curriculum adheres to state standards and the curriculum is able to be addressed in the time that is available. So have you worked out your scope and sequence and planned that out? As we all know, things don't always go the way we think. Sometimes we lose the last 9 weeks of the school year. We can only plan to the best of our ability, and we're going to find out how that works this year. But we still need to try in the best of our ability to plan for getting the knowledge we need to get to our students the best we can. If we have calamity and COVID-19 stop us from doing that, it is what it is. But we have to plan for the best and prepare for the worst, as we found out. Do you have clear and measurable goals regarding student achievement in that curriculum? Are we using data to monitor progress toward achievement goals? And are we using appropriate school and classroom level programs to meet individual progress goals? So that's what a guaranteed and viable curriculum looks like. Hopefully all of you have a broad curriculum map that you're working from, and so you're knowing what units you're working on each 9 weeks. And then within those units, you've got specific lessons and specific skills and standards that you're teaching, and you're able to drill down and be very detailed from both a broad view and then down to the detailed view. That is what a guaranteed and viable curriculum looks like. Core professionalism, we usually talk about dress code in core professionalism. That has changed this year, and it's kind of a fun change. It is a blue jean baby, LA lady, seamstress for the band kind of a dress code year. So you're wearing jeans every day of the year. I am still going to ask that you consider, out of the pure joy that you have for wearing jeans every day, giving to our staff fund, because that's how we fund a lot of the things that we do for you guys. And we also give some of that money to some charities at times. But it's really neither here nor there. What's most exciting about this is you get to wear jeans every day if you want to this year. Other things with that, staff are expected to be at school in their classroom no later than 7:35 in the morning, and we're going to be expected to be in our classroom till no earlier than 3:15 in the afternoon. Now that could be that all students will be most likely will be released before 3:15. Right now we're targeting maybe before 3:10. We had a change just a few minutes ago that I'll try to let you know about. That's going to change our schedule just a little bit. But 7:45 in the morning, 3:15 in the afternoon are the expectations. In the past, typically, I've allowed early outs if staff need to leave earlier than 3:15 every once in a while. I understand that life happens. All I ask is that you use a sign-out sheet in the front office to let us know how that works. I'm not sure if we're still going to continue to use that or if we'll just go to a different system, but for now, we're planning on using the same system we used before. If you need to leave early on a given day, just let us know. That's fine. We'll have you sign out in the office on the early out sheet, and that way we know what's going on, because typically Murphy's Law, if you leave early, that's the day that somebody's going to call and have an emergency that they need to talk to you about. And it's just better if we know, oh, I'm sorry, that they had something they had to leave and go do. So just let us know what's happening there. I talked a little more about this last year, but I want to make sure that all staff read through the absences leave section that's in the Canvas module. Make sure you read through all of that and how paid leave works. Obviously, all staff will still be expected to put absences into Frontline. And please, especially this year, I know sometimes there's a temptation to have Marissa do that for you, and Marissa's wonderful and she will, but Marissa has a lot to do also. So please, please, please put those absences in yourself so Marissa has more time to do the many other things that she has on her plate. But just check out how the non-designated days and sick days work. I know that has been something that staff are not completely aware of in the past, but that is in the staff expectations section on the Canvas module. There's also information there. One of the questions I often get are when staff have to unfortunately go to funerals is about bereavement leave. There is a section in the handbook that lays out the corporation policy for that, and typically most school corporations and workplaces have a policy for, depending on the relationship of the person to you, they're the deceased to you, they allow a certain number of days. So if you're ever curious about that or you're in that unfortunate situation, the information is in the staff handbook on the module. And if you're entering those into Frontline, not Harmony, Frontline, you would choose bereavement leave as an option there. But if ever you have any questions about that, you certainly feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text at any time, and I can answer those questions for you. But make sure you check those. The last thing that I will say is that FMLA leave, FMLA stands for Family Medical Leave Act. It is federal law that's implemented according to our school board guidelines. But employees can be granted up to 12 weeks of unpaid family medical leave. If you're ever in a situation where you feel like you may need that family medical leave, or if you're unsure how that works, please let me know right away, or you can also speak to Jerica Davis in Human Resources at Central Office. But the sooner you have those conversations with her, all of those laws and the way that leave works are affected by when you initially bring that topic of discussion up usually. So talking to her about it sooner rather than later can give you more options. So I would just encourage you to remember that. Don't forget that family medical leave is an option for you if you are experiencing an illness or sickness, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you. It could be a family member that you're needing to help care for. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all at once either. It could be intermittent. So if you have questions, ask Jerica. Or if you're not sure, ask me. I will most likely just direct you to Jerica, but don't forget about FMLA. The last thing under staff expectations is about communication. I am going to expect that staff check their email once in the morning and once in the afternoon. I don't want you to be tied to email, or I don't want to be tied to email either. And I will also add that in this crazy time, that I am going to do the best I can to give everyone a little extra grace. I know how crazy this has been, and it is going to continue to be a little crazy. I don't think we're going to have as much notice on different decisions. We will probably not get information as quickly as we'd once gotten it. That has been my experience so far, and there's nothing to be done about that. We all just are going to have to roll with it, I think, as best we can. I'm going to do my best to get the information that I have out to you as soon as I can. That information is often changing very rapidly. So I cannot guarantee that you're going to get as much notice as you normally would get, which sometimes wasn't that great anyway. So please have a little grace with me if you can find it in your hearts, And I will try to do the same with you. I know that this causes stress for me, and I'm certainly sure it causes stress for you. So we'll try to all be a little more graceful with one another, because it is going to be a little more stressful this year. And that's it for staff expectations. Just remember that you as the teacher, there's no one in your room that has a greater positive impact on your students than you. And as you go, so your classroom goes. So any improvement you can make in yourself, whether that's your attitude on a given morning, that is all going to have a highly impactful result on your students. And I hope we remember that more than ever in this, what is maybe going to be the most interesting, crazy of school years on record. Good luck.